Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and some awesome news for Battlefront 2 because the community transmission for the Clone Trooper rework finally dropped. I was actually literally 30 seconds from falling asleep in my bed when this drops because it's currently 2 AM here in Sweden, but it seems like the approval finally came through and the community transmission detailing all of the changes coming to the Clone Trooper appearances is now out. And I have to say, they really went overboard with all the Clone Trooper changes. It's not just gonna be armored officers, but they've completely remade all the classes, how they look, splitting up phase 1 with phase 2, added armor officers while still keeping the old ones as an unlockable skin, shinies, and all that kind of stuff. So this was way more than I expected, and I gotta give them huge props for this. But this is a pretty long transmission, so let's dive straight into it. Incoming transmission. The topic of Clone Trooper armor is one that we've seen a lot of feedback on across the last few months, and back in December last year we mentioned that we were making some changes to the Clone Trooper appearance system. We've heard a lot about authenticity when it comes to Clone Troopers and how they look, which is why we have been working closely with our friends at Lucasfilm to ensure that each legion is representative of how we would expect them to look. One of the key goals for what we outline below is to bring you a lot more variety and choice to your Clone Trooper experience while retaining this authenticity. Default appearances. As part of this update, Clone Troopers will now have a new default appearance. The frequently requested shinies will now be the default look for all Clone Troopers. For those wanting to use the previous planet-specific default appearance, you will still be able to do so as they will become free unlocks, which basically means that we have more choice and we don't have to pay any credits or real money for it. They don't have any pictures here of shinies, but they do have a couple of other images here of the 104th for phase 1, 104th for phase 2, 501st phase 1, as well as 501st phase 2 that you will be seeing in the background. I will highlighting all these new changes both to the different phases and how the classes will be specified. In terms of the phases, they say the following. Another of the changes being implanted for this update revolves around the different phases of Clone Troopers. We will be separating both the phase 1 and phase 2 troopers and allowing you to use them as individual appearances as you desire. What this means is that should you prefer the phase 1 version of a specific legion, you will be able to use them regardless of what planet you are playing on. Trooper variety. Under the new system, troopers will be visually different from one and another, but all the time retaining the overall theme of their specific legion. What this means is that a heavy will have different markings to a specialist and assault officer, but you will still be able to tell which legion they belong to. And as you can see based off these images, the assault kind of has like the default skin look, and then the heavy has the specialized helmet with also for the 501st case it actually has a bag, and then the officer has a little radio comm thing, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, and the specialist has the same little vizier or whatever you call it at the helmet, so you can still see specifically, no matter which legion it is, what class it is. So they still have these specific looks that will probably take a bit getting used to since we're used to how it looks right now, but they still have clear, unique ways to be spotted. And on top of that, the markings are also different between the classes, at least for most of the legions, but it also depends a bit on which phase it is. Continuing, armored officers. One of the most prominent bits of feedback we've received revolves around Clone Trooper officers. Under the current trooper system, officers only have a naval uniform appearance as an option. Once the new system rolls out in the February update, Clone Trooper officers will be able to equip armor the same way as assault, specialist, and heavy troopers. The naval uniform is not going away though, it will remain as a free unlock for anyone wishing to use it. As for the legions, the new update means that there's going to be more legions available to choose from, simply because they put the planet-specific ones as their own legions now. So right now you will have the new default shinies, including the navigational officer, 501st, 327th, 91st, with the new helmet included, which is most likely this kind of special flat look that the 91st have, 104th Wolfpack, 212th Coruscant Guard, 41st Elite Corps, but also the 181st Armor Division, 87th Sentinel Corps, and 41st Ranger Platoon. So I'm guessing those last three are basically the new names for those planet-specific legions that actually, when I Google like 181st and 87th, they don't even seem to exist. So they might actually have made them canon through Battlefront 2 now, which I think is pretty darn awesome. Moving on to exchange rates. With the new changes, they will be implementing a system that will exchange the old appearances for the phase 2 version of the new appearances. As part of this process, we will be removing the currently existing appearances from the game. This means that anyone who currently owns either or multiple of the 104th, 212th, 41st, 327th or the 91st appearances will receive the updated versions via an in-game crate. Simply head to the crate menu once the update is live and you will find your new appearances waiting for you. As for the cost, with the inclusion of the officers, they're now bumping up the price to 60,000 credits or 1,500 crystals, and this will give you all the phase 2 appearances, and they will otherwise cost 20,000 credits each or 500 crystals. The phase 1 variants, however, will be common and priced at 5,000 credits or 150 crystals, so it's interesting that they split them up and make the phase 1 so much cheaper, but looking at the examples here I can understand why, because the phase 2 has a lot more markings, a lot more details overall. As if that wasn't good enough, on February 27th they will be granting everyone a Chosen One crate, which is intended for new players as a starter kit, which will include the 41st Ranger Platoon, Phase 1 and Phase 2, all 4 Phase 1 appearances for the 41st, 91st, 104th, 212th and 327th, and 60,000 credits. So if you're worried about not being able to afford the specific Legion you want, don't be. You will get 60,000 credits, and if you're like me and have like 400,000 or 500,000 credits, I think you can buy pretty much any skin you want in this patch nevertheless. And the Chosen One crate will be available from February 27th and then forever. And then lastly, in the community transmission we have a brief kind of lore text about both the Coruscant Guard and 501st Battalion arriving in this update. If you're interested, I would recommend reading it, but I'm gonna be completely honest, it's really late here, so I figured if you're interested in the lore you can read it yourself. I will just give you the actual gameplay details, juicy details that we have been waiting for. And overall I gotta say they really blew this out of the water. I thought it was just gonna be some, well, obviously the armored officers plus the slight fixes to the different things people have complained about regarding the clone skins, but they basically went and changed everything and gave us all the customization options we could possibly have wanted. So it's gonna be fun to go through, look at all the skins next week and see which specific phase and Legion you want for all the specific classes. So I'm looking forward to that a lot, but that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.